I call to order the April 10th meeting of the Committee on Human Resource. Georgette, please call the roll.
Director Shaw,
Here.
Director Miller,
Here.
Chairman Barclay,
Here. I call to order the April 10th meeting of the Committee on Human Resource. The chair recognizes Nima Jha.
I would like to move that we allow Director Jakes to attend the meeting virtually. He has suffered an injury and is unable to attend in person.
I second the motion.
It's been moved by Director Shaw and seconded by Chairman Barclay that Director Bernard Jakes be permitted to attend the meeting remotely, and as much as he suffered an injury and is unable to attend in person. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Shaw,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
the vote passes. Director Jakes, can you hear us?
I can.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Director Miller, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Our first order of business is to view and approval of the May 10th committee minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Shaw, seconded by Chairman Barclay, that the minutes from the meeting of May 10th, 2023 be approved as submitted. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Shaw,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller.
Yes.
The motion to approve the minutes passes.
Thank you. Our next order of business is a second chance program presentation. Keisha Esther.
Good morning, Chairman, Board, members, and President Carter. My name is Geisha Esther, and I serve as the Vice President of Training and Workforce Development here at the Chicago Transit Authority. With me today, Ms. Morgan Thomas. She is our Manager of Second Chance Programs, and she will address the board a little later in our presentation. My goal for today is to offer two things. One, I want to give an overview of the Second Chance Program, and then second, I want to acknowledge and honor this year's National Second Chance Month. Next slide, please. So about the Second Chance Program, we are a nationally recognized training program that provides valuable job skills and career development to Chicago's returning residents and others who face challenges re-entering the workforce. Our program provides 315 temporary positions for participants to gain valuable work experience, cleaning CTA's buses, trains, and facilities. We have a holistic approach to our program in preparing our individuals to reach their goals of self-sufficiency through permanent employment at CTA and other organizations. Our program offers a wide range of training, education, mentoring, career coaching, and networking opportunities for our participants. Next slide, please. To meet the requirements of our programs, candidates must reside in the city of Chicago, be 18 years or older, have a true barrier to employment, whether it's that they're justice involved, survivors of domestic violence, or suffering from homelessness. They must meet CTA's drug-free workplace policies. And then last but not least, obviously have an interest in janitorial. Next slide, please. Some of the benefits of our program is that our participants earn $15.80 an hour. They have free transportation on CTA PACE as well as Metra. They work 40 hours a week for at least a one-year assignment. There's a possibility of a second year depending on program availability and their work records. Participants that are interested are eligible for paid commercial license permit training through our partnership with City Colleges of Chicago. We offer professional development and career coaching, whether that is assistance with resume writing or interview skill prep, or even assistance with applications completions. We also offer valuable work experience and transferable skills that help make them more employable. Next slide, please. We are very proud of our program and are proud of the accomplishments that we have made in the CTA Second Chance program. And two things that I want to talk about is one, we've developed an impactful community partnership. Our footprint within city is large, and we do that through a few ways. One, through our partnership with our social agencies, who are some represented here today, as well as community job fairs. And one of our more recent programs, arms of our program, is our Hope Behind Bars program, where we partner with the Illinois Department of Corrections to actually go into the correctional facilities and provide awareness about our program, but also participate in the center's transitional workshops for those who are preparing to re-enter the communities. And so we go in and help them become return ready is what we call it. We want them to be ready to return to our communities. And we know part of that is for them to be ready to gain employment. So we go into the actual correctional facilities. We talk to detainees about our program, but also help prepare them to return. And so we're very proud of our accomplishment of creating those community partnerships to be able to support our returning residents. The other thing that we are proud about as one of our accomplishments is the impact we have on our residents within the community itself. We have, since May of 2011, we have provided over 2,250 opportunities here at the Chicago Transit Authority. We have had 2,250 people onboarded into our program, and over 1,100 of them have completed our program. And when we talk about program completions, it is you have done at least 1 year, or maybe you have completed 2 years in our program, or you have gone on and started our program and within 6 months gained permanent employment. So we consider all of that success and part of our completions. What we are also very proud to say that is over 550 positions, permanent positions here at the Chicago Transit Authority have been occupied by Second Chance program participants. And so we are continuing that work that we're doing, but very proud of our accomplishments. Next slide, please. I talked about I had two goals here. One was to give you an overview of our program, but the second was to really acknowledge and celebrate National Second Chance Month. And that is our goal for today. Next slide, please. So just a little bit of statistics. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, each year more than 650,000 people are released from state and federal prisons, and over 70 million Americans have a criminal history record. Those numbers are what makes our work so important. And it is really what makes a second chance program like the one here at CTA vital to the communities that we serve. An organization called Prison Fellowship founded Second Chance Month in 2017 for a few reasons: to raise awareness and improve perceptions of people with a criminal record. They also wanted to encourage second chance opportunities, and they wanted to drive momentum for policy change throughout the country. In March of 19, the White House issued an official proclamation making April National Second Chance Month. And personally, I couldn't think of a better month because it's my birthday month. Celebrating National Second Chance Month in April. With that being said, in honor of Prison Fellowship's vision, CTA has celebrated National Second Chance Month in a variety of ways over the years. Next slide, please. We have created awareness in alignment with their vision through various ways. Last year, we were guests on WVON's radio talk show, where we interviewed there, and we spoke about our program and upcoming opportunities. And we also took with us one of our former participants to help create that improved perception about people who have been incarcerated. We also encourage opportunities. Last year in 2023, we held our first ever standalone Second Chance program hiring event. It was our first, but it's definitely not will be our last. We've also worked with the mayor's office last year to sit on their reentry council to help create a roadmap for those citizens returning back here to Chicago. So we're also helping to impact those policies as well. Last but not least, you'll see some pictures here. We never have a celebration without honoring our current and former participants. Last year and years before, we've had women's and men's empowerment events where we've also awarded excellence awards to former participants who have worked in excellence here at the authority. And we've also had inspiring discussion panels from former participants to inspire our current participants to move forward. Next slide, please. So what are we doing this year? Next slide, please. We want to be as impactful as we were in previous years with our celebration of National Second Chance Month. So this year, in 2024, we will be hosting 3 second chance hiring events. The first of which has already happened. It was April 1st. We wanted to start the month very strong, and we did just that. We had over 275 applicants attend our hiring event. We are excited. During that time, they were able to get an overview of the program, complete applications, as well as have on-site interviews. And so we have 2 more hiring events planned for this month on the 13th and the 15th, and we're expecting similar success in our hiring events. We are also having awareness activities like the one here today. Thank you for allowing me to spend the time to talk about our program and continue to create awareness. We are having our Hall of Fame honors this year that we will talk about a little later, as well as participant appreciation events and recognition of our partners and staff, which we'll talk about a little later today. But speaking about our staff, this work that I've talked about so far does not happen in happenstance. There are a group of hardworking, dedicated professionals who have the heart of the people and really serve in excellence to make our program what it is. Next slide, please. I want to recognize our Second Chance Program leadership team, Dr. Bria Hoosier, sitting next to me, Morgan Thomas, and in our audience, Coretta Rivers. They are the managers for our Second Chance Program. They drive the vision that our leadership has, as well as myself, for our program, and really lead the impactful work that we do. Next slide, please. Second Chance Program is a small but mighty team. We have 5 coordinators, Melinda, Aaron, Jacqueline, Renetta, and Draken. They are responsible for really being case management to our program participants. They are the advocates of our participants and really partner with our internal and external partners to ensure that our participants have a good experience. We have 2 training specialists, Jiwan and Mia. When I talked about resume writing workshops, professional development training, interviewing skills, they are responsible for making sure those things happen and providing those opportunities to our participants. And last but not least, Jakaya is responsible for that footprint in our community that I spoke about earlier. She does our recruitment, attends our job fairs, and with the partnership of HR, does our onboarding processes. So we just want to acknowledge the small but mighty team that we have that does the work that I'm able to speak with you about here today. Next slide, please. And we don't do it alone, just as a team. We have other internal partners here at CTA that support our program, whether it's our bus maintenance, rail maintenance, our HR team, or our rail station management team. Specifically, our bus maintenance and rail station management teams are our direct supervisors at our work sites. They oversee the work experience of our participants and really handle the day-to-day with our participants. They provide work assignments, they give feedback on their work performance, and they really are responsible for developing and monitoring that technical work skill that they're gaining here at the authority. 2 more of our partners is Local 308 and 241. Our partners, all of our participants are members of the unions, whether it's Local 241 and 308, and we appreciate their partnership as well. Next slide, please. Earlier, I talked about our Second Chance Program agency partners. They are responsible for our recruitment. The Department of Family and Support Services, DFSS, provides resources to the agencies who are able to provide the resources to our participants. So we appreciate DFSS, who are represented here today as well as some of our agencies are here as well, represented. Our agency support our participants to remove barriers. Whatever wraparound services are necessary in addition to the recruitment that they do, They provide the wraparound services, whether it's housing assistance, childcare assistance, counseling, or any other support that removes those barriers so our participants can focus on their career path and gaining the skills they need to be successful. Next slide, please. At this point in our presentation, I wanted you to hear from two of our current participants, Sydney Pruitt and Bethany Dar. We have a short video where they talk about their experience as current bus servicer apprentices.
I remember the first paycheck I got because it was a paper paycheck, and I was like, man, I haven't had a paper paycheck since I was 16. Then I thought, I don't think I've had a job since I was 16 is how it was also feeling. And to know you earned it is top notch. When I was released from prison and I didn't really know which direction to go, what I wanted to do, but I'd heard about the Second Chance program. It is a transitional program to help people who have either been impacted by the system or domestic violence, who may have like fragmented work history or no work history, who either become a permanent employee of the CTA or just ready themselves for the job market. I have learned how to show up on time, to be effective in my work, to communicate with others, things that I kind of lost through incarceration. Just simple like greetings, so learn integrity. So we're full-time employees, but we're temporary full-time employees, up to 12 months. From the day to hire, you can start applying to work within the CTA in a permanent position.
I used to love riding the L's. But once I got older, I kind of let go of that. But once I came back to me to being able to work for CTA, I'm looking forward to living my dreams of driving the L trains. And that's my goal. I take pride in whatever it is I'm doing. If it's picking up trash, I'm gonna take pride in picking that up. And I keep the buses mopped and clean of any trash. I have 5 older siblings. My parents raised us to be thorough and responsible and neat. So cleanliness is a very important part of my personal life.
People can say you're just cleaning a city bus, but it's more than that. I've learned how to make better financial decisions just having a paycheck because I don't want to blow it. I'm like, I worked hard for this, like really hard at night, cleaning dirty city buses.
When I get on the bus, I just detail, look at around and see all the things that I know that I'm cleaning. To just see and observe that, man, okay, this bus is looking decent. I take pride in it because it could be the bus that I clean. I wish customers knew the hard work we put in and try and help us out by not littering it. CTA provides you with an opportunity to start brand new, get a fresh start, and actually build up a good career here. But the next phase of my career would be going to rails, and from that point, I would be flagging to be able to go to driving the trains. So I'm working hard and doing what I need to do to get to that point. It's just a good feeling that doing the right things, trying to stay in the right lanes, because there's a lot of distractions.
I just took a position with my recovery home. The goal of our resource center is to help formerly incarcerated women reintegrate into society. Second Chance program gave me confidence to even accept the job offer. When they said, oh, you want to come work for us? I didn't say, I'm not qualified. I said, yeah, absolutely, I'm going. Because I know now that I can do things that maybe I didn't think that I would be capable of.
I just want to share, man, that listen, never give up. Never give up. Fulfill your dreams.
I do think programs like this can help people stay out of prison because it's going to give them the confidence to realize that there's life after prison. It gave me hope. I know there's a future for me now, and that future does not include sitting in a box. And thank God the CTA gives second chances so that people can gain confidence and job readiness skills.
I am excited about Sydney and Bethany's future. I'm confident that with Sydney's hard work and dedication, that he will meet his goals of being a rail operator at some point in his career here at the authority. And although we know the ultimate goal is permanent employment and not necessarily permanent employment at CTA, we are always sad to see our participants move forward. But I am equally excited for Bethany because I am grateful for everyone who played a role in her development here at CTA and the Second Chance program. And I know that she's going to be able to take the tools and skills that she learned here to go on and be successful in her new role as well. And that really is the premise and the purpose of our program, is to prepare them and give them the tools they need so that they can go and really have the career that they desire. So you've heard from our current participants and their experience here. And I mentioned earlier that I have with me the manager of Second Chance Programs, Ms. Morgan Thomas. She is also a former Second Chance participant who wants to share in her experience here at CTA. Next slide, please. I will turn it over to you, Morgan.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Morgan Thomas, and I am the manager of the Chicago Transit Authority Second Chance Program. I am beyond honored to hold this position, but it was not an easy journey to get here. I started my career at the CTA as a Second Chance Program participant. My barrier to employment was justice involved. A decade ago, I was arrested for theft and was placed on house arrest. During that time, I was sleeping in my car with my 4-year-old son, trying to figure out what was next. I was offered an opportunity to make some extra money, and out of desperation, but admittedly poor judgment, I took it. I used the extra money to pay for food, gas, and motel rooms for my son and myself. I was just trying to survive.
Okay.
The events leading up to my arrest are what pushed me to want better for myself and to be better than what I witnessed around me. I heard about the Second Chance program through a Facebook post, and I just knew that it could not be real. As weeks went by, I kept seeing the posts from other outlets, and I said to myself, let me just give them a call. It was from that day forward that my life changed for the better. I went into Phelan's Family Services, who helped me complete their job readiness program to be referred to the CTA Second Chance program. Once referred and hired to the Second Chance program, I knew that I had to make the best of my situation. I told myself that there was no way I was coming into this big company and not getting a permanent job. I worked hard, was reliable, dependable, and studied every chance that I got to obtain my CDL permit in hopes of becoming a full-time bus servicer. I had the Second Chance program team and the managers at my work location who believed in me and helped me along the way. And 6 months later, I was offered full-time employment as a bus servicer. I was given the advice to work your way up, so that's what I did. 4 years later, I was promoted to a rail car appearance coordinator. 2 years later, I was promoted into my first management role as manager of rail station management. And in November of 2023, I transitioned into my current role as manager of the Second Chance program. My journey is one that I am extremely proud of. I have persevered and fought through all kinds of challenges, personal and professional, to get me where I am today. To land this role has not only been a full circle moment, but it is such an honor. To be able to serve the exact community that I was once a part of is a very rare occurrence. I have no words for the amount of joy that I have to hold this position. I have lives placed in my hands, and daily I am doing everything that I can to propel and push our participants further in their careers within the Chicago Transit Authority. Today, there are a few of my amazing colleagues who are being honored in recognition of National Second Chance Month. However, Chairman Barclay, board members, and President Carter, on behalf of the thousands of Second Chance program participants, hundreds of participants who are in permanent employment, hundreds of participants who are in permanent employment in the CTA and the training and workforce development team. Thank you. Thank you for giving us a second chance and for showing us how valuable we are to the Chicago Transit Authority. President Carter, in recognition of your unwavering support of the Second Chance program, we would like to present you with an honorary Second Chance Program Hall of Fame Award and the commemorative pin. Thank you.
So I have an entire team of former former participants, current colleagues, and before we started this, we said we were not gonna start this crying today. We are never successful at it. We are never successful. Thank you, Morgan, for sharing your story and having the courage to inspire others. I am honored to call you my colleague. Okay, all right. Okay, so the Second Chance Hall of Fame, we're gonna get through the rest of this. Our Second Chance Hall of Fame acknowledges the Second Chance participants who have excelled in the program and have gone on to earn permanent employment here at CTA. After a few remarks from our president, President Carter, and our champion of the Second Chance program, he will acknowledge a few of this year's honorees. President Carter.
Thank you, Keisha. And first of all, before I begin my remarks, let me just say a couple words about Keisha. She is the mother of this program. And the vision of what you see here today has been basically her vision, certainly with a lot of help and support from our team, but something that she has developed and grown just like you would develop your own child. I have watched Keisha laugh with our participants. I have watched Keisha cry with our participants. She truly takes every one of them under her arms and supports them to get them through the program. It is the reason why it is a nationally recognized program, and none of it would have been possible without Keisha's personal commitment and passion for the work that she does in this particular program. So I just want to acknowledge Keisha and the work that she does in supporting this, and ultimately is the one who makes me look good when I get to talk about this program on a national level. So thank you, Keisha, for everything that you do. As Keisha mentioned, I was one of the founders of the CTA Second Chance program many years ago. And we created it with an eye towards giving individuals with barriers to employment the opportunity to really turn their lives around and provide them with really good CTA union paying jobs. As Keisha noted, the program has grown to become a national model, providing a holistic approach to preparing individuals to be self-sufficient through a wide range of training, education, mentoring, and networking opportunities. Today, we are honoring 7 individuals who've gone through the Second Chance program, gained full-time employment with CTA, and earned at least one promotion during their tenure, although some have been promoted more than once. These individuals are among the best of the best at what they do. We are very fortunate to have the CTA family of employees. Today's honorees now join the ranks of the Second Chance Program's Hall of Fame. This induction is a testament to the fact that they are not only hardworking, valued members of the CTA team, but shining stars to represent our program's effectiveness and success. And I could not be happier to recognize all of them here today. Honorees, when I call your name, please stand. Once I've completed reading your background, please come up to the front of the room here and join the board and myself so that we may take a photo and you may receive your award. First, we have Jakisha Beals. Jakisha, will you please stand? Jakisha is a rail maintenance manager in her 12th year with CTA. She began as a car servicer apprentice in July of 2012 and went on to work as a bus servicer apprentice the following year. She was hired into a permanent position as a car servicer in December of 2013 and has since been promoted twice, first as a rail car appearance coordinator and later to her current position. Congratulations, Jakisha. Would you please come forward to join us? Next up is Tara Peters. Tara? Tara serves as a railcar appearance manager and is a 10-year CTA veteran. Tara began her CTA career as a bus service apprentice in June 2014, became a car servicer apprentice later that year. She was hired into a permanent position in September 2015 when she became a railcar appearance coordinator, and in October of 2016 was promoted to her current role. Congratulations, Tara. Please come forward. Next is Morgan Thomas. Please stand, Morgan. Morgan is in her ninth year with CTA and serves as a Second Chance Program Manager. You've already heard from Morgan today, but I think her achievements, including 3 promotions since being hired into a permanent role, bear repeating. In April of 2015, Morgan joined CTA as a bus servicer apprentice, and in December of that year, she was hired into a permanent position as a bus servicer. She has since received 3 promotions, including working as a rail car appearance coordinator, rail station management manager, now manager in the same Second Chance program that gave her opportunity to join the team of CTA. Congratulations, Morgan. You are the embodiment of what we had hoped would happen when we started this program many, many years ago. And you certainly should be very proud of all you've accomplished, not only so far, but all that you will accomplish in the future as you pursue your career. Thank you. Next is Jeanette Grisby. Jeanette is a bus maintenance manager in her 9th year here at CTA. Jeanette began as a bus servicer apprentice in August of 2015, and in September of 2016 became a car servicer apprentice. In April of 2017, she became a permanent employee as a janitor. 17 months later, she was promoted to bus maintenance coordinator. January 2021, she was promoted again, this time to her current role. Jeanette, thank you for your outstanding service to CTA. We also have Derek Terry with us today. Derek, please stand. Derek has been with CTA for 8 years and serves currently as a bus maintenance coordinator. Derek began his career as a bus servicer apprentice in August of 2016 and was hired into a permanent bus servicer role 13 months later. Just last month, Derek was promoted to his current role. Congratulations, Derek. We expect big things from you, and you're off to a terrific start. Thank you. Next is Taisha Richards, a manager of administration in our rail station management department. Taisha is an 8-year CTA veteran who began her tenure with us as a staff assistant working with the Second Chance program in September of 2016. Following April, she was hired into a permanent role as a customer service assistant. Later in 2017, she served as a flagger for a month before being promoted 4 times between October 2017 and January 2023. Her roles during that time included human resources assistant, talent acquisition associate, talent acquisition specialist, and of course, her current role today. Taisha, 4 promotions in that amount of time is a very, very big deal. You should be very proud. And obviously it's clear that they were all very well deserved by the hard work and dedication you've shown to CTA. Congratulations for your entry into the Second Chance Hall of Fame. Please join us up front. And finally, we have Jerry Brown. Jerry, please stand. Jerry has been with CTA for 3 years and is a project specialist too in our rail operations department. Jerry started as a rail janitor apprentice in November of 2021 and joined CTA in a permanent role as a bus servicer the following August. Less than a year later, he was promoted to his current position. Jerry, not only do I appreciate your great service to this agency, but I am very happy that you and Derek are here because you have shown everyone that the guys are doing a great job as well. Congratulations. Congratulations. Please join us. Before we take our photo, I want to acknowledge the presence of our agency partners that are in attendance today. Geisha mentioned many of the partners who helped make this program happen, but there are a few who are able to join us today. Trinity Dobby and Juan Cruz, representing the City of Chicago's Department of Family and Support Services. Bernicia Flowers, representing the Cara Collective. Charles Hardwick, representing the Howard Area Community Center. Damian Volheim and Dino Durham, representing the Safer Foundation. I should point out that CJ has won an award from the Safer Foundation for our work in the Second Chance program, which we truly appreciated. And Maurice Robinson, representing the Salvation Army. And David McCaskill, who represents the West Side Health Authority. I also want to acknowledge some of the staffers that make our Second Chance program work. Please stand and be recognized when your name is called. Coretta Rivers, manager of the Second Chance program. Melinda Crosby, coordinator of the Second Chance program. And Aaron Simon, coordinator of the Second Chance program. Mr. Chairman, I would like to take two sets of photos right now. First, we'll have the board join our honorees for their photo. And afterwards, I would ask that our partners and Second Chance staff join the group for a bigger picture. But before that, let's give everyone here a round of applause. Okay, let's take a picture.
We have everyone. So go back to. Yeah, we can get on either side.
Is it okay if I'm front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Go in 3, 2, 1. Grab a couple. Perfect. Okay. And then
rest of the team come out. Good. He said that includes.
Yeah, you can.
Mr. President,
Yes.
have the photographer take a picture of me right here. You all can just Photoshop me in.
Come on up.
Okay.
Yeah, come on up.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Everybody.
If we can all then.
Please come forward. Thank you. Thank you very much. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Thank you, thank you.
They say it takes a village. This is the whole village.
Do you want to go behind me?
Some can go to the other side, double up.
Yeah, I could go. Last space.
And squeeze in just a little bit.
I went back up just a little, sorry, y'all.
And can we squeeze in a little side? With this a little more. All right. We're going 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
That's cute. How about that?
Yeah,
wanted to say that. Thank you, Keisha, Morgan, and the whole team. And it is befitting that, and congratulations on happy National Second Chance Month and happy birthday. Wonderful, wonderful. 550 out of the group came to CTA. Do you have any mechanism in place to trace those who went to other companies also?
Yes, so currently, people can self-report if they've gone to other locations, but that is one of our goals that we're looking to determine how can we officially track that information. But we have some that self-report.
Thank you. I have no questions.
Okay, we'll take questions or comments from other board members. Director Ja.
No questions, thank you. I don't have any words. I think, thank you.
Director Ortiz.
Congratulations. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your leadership. Way to go.
Director Jakes.
My question is for the applicants who aren't hired, because there's not enough open slots, are they placed in a pool that if a space becomes open, then they're considered for being hired?
Thank you for the question, Reverend Jakes. So we encourage all of our participants to continue to apply if they graduate our program and don't gain employment with us. But we have a transitional workshop before we transition anyone out of our program. And our goal is to make sure there's a plan, whether it's reconnecting them to our agency partners so that they can also help us with job searches, whether it is that they have something coming up, but it doesn't quite meet up with our offboarding for program completions. And we've also had people who were program completing and they were actually a candidate for a permanent position. So we try to make sure that there are opportunities and avenues for our participants to go down once they complete our program if they don't gain permanent employment here at CTA. So we're very thoughtful in that space.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And awesome job.
Thank you.
Director Lee.
Just, yeah, amazing work that y'all are doing. And also just thank you for your storytelling today. I know it takes a lot to come forward and share your journey, and we're just really grateful for that. But also, however we can as a board to support all the work that y'all are doing, please let us know. Thank you.
Chairman Barclay.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. That's the first point. Second is that all the tissue was handed out there. We cried too. Okay. Well, this is such an important program, and I'm pleased to see its growth and its development over the years, and that it's grown beyond the city of Chicago. As we know, it's nationally recognized as well. You guys are doing a commendable job. Keep up the good work. So we're proud of you. Thank you so much.
Director Miller, there are no further questions or comments.
Thank you. Since there's no further business to conduct, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the Committee on Human Resources meeting be adjourned. Take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Miller, the vote passes.
Thank you. We adjourn.
Morning. I would like to call to order the April 10th, 2024 meeting of the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Georgette, would you please call the roll?
Director Ja?
Here.
Director Ortiz?
Here.
Director Miller?
Here.
Director Lee?
Here.
Chairman Barclay, you do have a quorum.
Chair recognizes Director Ortiz.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we allow Director Jakes to attend this meeting virtually given that he has suffered an injury and cannot be physically present.
I second that motion.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz and seconded by Director Ja that Director Jakes be allowed to attend the meeting remotely, given that he has suffered a physical injury and is unable to be present in person. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Director Jakes, welcome. I now turn the meeting over to you to chair the furtherance of the meeting.
Thank you. Our first order of business is the approval of committee minutes of March 13th, 2024. May I have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz that the minutes from the meeting of March 13th, 2024 be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller, Director Lee.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Our next order of business is the finance report. Jeremy Fine.
Good morning, I'm Jeremy Fine, your Chief Financial Officer, and today I'll present the results for February as well as year-to-date for the first 2 months of the year. Next slide, please. With regard to our revenues, you see fare and pass totals coming in positive to budget by about $1 million and about $3 million better than February of 23. You see reduced fare subsidy coming in as expected. Non-fare box totals coming in better than expected. So overall for the month of February, we're about $1.7 million positive to budget. On the next slide, you see the year-to-date numbers for January and February. You see the aggregate number for fare and pass totals coming in positive to budget by about $300,000. Reduced fare subsidy coming in as expected, and non-fare box totals coming in about $1.2 million better than budget. So overall, for the first 2 months of the year, we're positive to budget by about $1.5 million and about $3 million, a little over $3.2 million better than the first 2 months of 2023. On the next slide, please. One more, please. With regard to our expenses, you see for the month of February, we continue to see positive favorability on labor. As we've discussed before, that will continue to go down as our hiring efforts continue to ramp up. But we're about $7.2 million to the positive there. Materials coming in as expected, slightly positive. Fuel, some outperformance there. And power coming in again, as expected, slightly positive, as is injuries and damages. Purchase of security services is slightly negative here as we continue to deploy more resources. And then other expenses is positive by about $1 million. So overall for the month of February, our expenses are favorable to budget by about $7.2 million. On the next slide, you see the year-to-date numbers, again, for the first 2 months. And the trajectory of each of the lines are similar to the monthly totals. So I'll just drop to the bottom line here. With regard to total operating expenses, we see the aggregate number for January and February favorable to budget by about $17.5 million. If you couple that with our positive variance for revenue for the first 2 months of the year, we're about $19 million positive in total. On the next slide, you see the numbers for public funding. This chart outlines the monthly collections. So it's an amalgamation of collections for 2023 for sales tax and then 2024 for PTF, RET, and PTF on RET. But in total for the month, we're about 1.9, almost $2 million to the positive to budget expectations. Again, positive for sales tax and PTF. Again, the higher interest rates have had a depressing effect on real estate transfer tax. But, you know, again, overall, we're about 1.9 million to the positive. On the next slide, you see the totals now for 2023. Now that we've received the sales tax collection for December, we're able to, you know, do a full tally of public funding for calendar year 23, budget year 23. And as you can see here, we're positive on sales tax, positive on PTF, and again, negative on RET and PTF on RET. But overall, we're about $14.4 million to the positive of our budgeted expectations for 2023 budget. On the next slide, you see the total so far for 2024, noting that sales tax has not yet been received for January, but for PTF through March, RET through February, and PTF on RET through March, we're on a percentage basis essentially flat, but on a dollar basis, we're about $1.5 million unfavorable to budget. But again, this is yet to account for any sales tax collections for 2024. On the next slide, please. You see here the totals with regard to federal emergency relief funding. As we've discussed in prior months, you do see larger draws at the beginning of the year, and you see a draw here for about $31 million. This means that we've now drawn down about 55.5%, 55.4% of the total allocation. We do have just under $1 billion remaining. And again, based on our current projections, we expect those funds to last us through 2025 and into the early days of 2026. But again, this is a dynamic situation. We'll obviously be updating the board on a monthly basis as to that projection. On the next slide, please. You see the three commodities that we purchase: fuel, power, and natural gas. We're where we need to be locked in for fuel and natural gas for outer years, as well as 2024. We are locked in for 2024 with regard to power, but we do continue to pursue the RFP for outer year purchases, and we expect that to be concluded in the June-ish type timeframe, and we'll continue to update the board as that comes to conclusion. Glad to answer any questions with regard to the results for February or year-to-date for January and February totals so far.
Thank you, Jeremy. I have a couple of questions for you. First, with the grocery tax proposal, if it passes, will that affect, I can't see you, Jeremy, where are you? Can you all strike that, strike the image? Thank you. Will that affect CTA if that grocery tax, the elimination of the grocery tax pass?
So it would have, some impact. It's fairly de minimis. We continue to work with RTA to get a better sense of what the order of magnitude would be. But again, we don't see full transparency as to the various line items of the sales tax that we receive from the state via RTA. But again, we think that it's probably a fairly de minimis portion. It's attributed to just the state portion, not the RTA portion that we also receive. So again, I think that it's something that we continue to track, but we don't anticipate any material impact on our overall collections. Again, I think it's important to note that the online sales that went into effect, kind of at the pre-pandemic type timeframe, has been a huge wind in the sails of our collections of sales tax and the reciprocal impact on PTF. As compared to pre-pandemic periods, our current collections of sales tax and PTF are about $250 million more than those pre-pandemic period collections. So again, it shows the order of magnitude of some changes, that have been positive. Again, we'll continue to track, the impacts that are being proposed, not yet implemented with regard to groceries or anything else that may come. But again, I think that it will be a fairly de minimis amount overall if it is actually implemented.
My second question is with respects to the sales tax and not having received it. Does the sales tax come in, that money come in quarterly, or is it just delayed?
It comes in every month, and it comes in arrears. So it takes some time for the various collectors, you know, the businesses out there that are collecting sales tax to collect the actual sales tax on the sales, and then the process of remitting that to the state, and then the process of the state remitting that to RTA, and then eventually to the service boards. That is kind of the normal course of, you know, that whole process. As a 3-month lag, that's what it has been historically. It has gapped out over the years, historically, a little bit wider than that at times. And again, the service boards, along with RTA, continue to work with the state when those circumstances do arise, to try to close that gap. But again, 3 months is kind of the normal course here in Illinois for collections and remittance and being able to use those funds.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Georgette.
Director Ja,
No questions, thank you.
Director Ortiz,
No question. Thank you.
Chairman Barclay,
No questions.
Director Miller,
Question, thank you.
Director Lee.
Thanks, Jamie. Questions?
Director Jakes, there are no further questions. You may proceed to agenda item number 4.
Our next order of business is the review of an ordinance amending ordinance 023-131, approving the fiscal years 2024 through 2028 capital improvement program. Jeremy Fine and is that it?
Michelle Curran has also joined me, the Deputy CFO and Comptroller.
All right, and Michelle.
Morning.
Good morning, Michelle.
Morning, thank you. I'm Michelle Curran, Deputy CFO and Comptroller. I'm here today to present a proposed amendment to the 2024 to 2028 Capital Improvement Program, or CIP. The board previously approved the $3.7 billion CIP. While we typically do quarterly amendments, we're proposing an interim amendment to complete the next step in the process toward the full funding grant agreement for the Red Line Extension project. The proposed amendment would add $335.9 million of CTA financing to the CIP to support the RLE project. This will allow us to complete the financial plan so FTA can complete their financial capacity assessment prior to awarding the full funding grant agreement, which is expected later this year. The net increase in funding due to this amendment is $335.9 million, bringing the 2024 to 2028 CIP to $4.1 billion. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
I have no questions, Michelle.
Thank you.
Director Ja,
No questions, thanks.
Director Ortiz,
Thank you. No.
Chairman Barclay,
No questions.
Director Miller,
No question, thank you.
Director Lee.
Thanks, Michelle, for questions.
Thank you.
There are no further questions, Director Jakes.
May I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this ordinance be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz.
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 5.
We will now review an ordinance authorizing a co-promotional trade agreement with the city of Chicago through its Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events for 2024. Jeremy and Michelle.
Good, thank you. Again, I'm Jeremy Fine, your Chief Financial Officer. And today I present for your consideration a co-promotional trade agreement with the City of Chicago's Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, known as DCASE. We have been doing this co-promotion with DCASE or its predecessor going back to 1992. The total trade value of this year's co-promotional agreement is $817,500. And this co-promotion agreement covers 15 programs hosted by DCASE and events taking place in 2024. The list includes some of DCASE's biggest events, like the Chicago Gospel Music Festival, the Blues Fest, Taste of Chicago, the Chicago Air and Water Show, as well as smaller events and public awareness campaigns. DCASE will promote CTA at each of these events and programs in various ways, including signage at the events and email newsletters and with travel information on the event websites. CTA will also be invited to have dedicated space at the Maxwell Street Market, Daily Plaza Farmers Market, the Taste of Chicago, and one DCASE program at Millennium Park. CTA may use its dedicated space to feature the community bus as we have in the past. And in exchange, CTA will provide unsold interior car space on both bus and rail for DCASE to promote its programs and events. This concludes my remarks, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
I have no questions.
Director Ja,
No questions, thank you.
Director Ortiz,
No questions.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Miller,
Question.
Director Lee.
Question. Are we, is there an opportunity to face the community bus and also do some hiring? Or it's just kind of.
Yeah, so the community bus is a great opportunity for us to not only do this DCASE co-promotion, but there are opportunities to utilize the community bus in various ways, and we do that. So it's a great asset for us. And it's just, we're talking about it in particular here for DCASE, but it is something that we continue to roll out at various events and expand the platform that we have, because it is a great asset for us. Yeah. Mhm.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
May I now have leave to place this on the omnibus for board approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja and seconded by Director Ortiz. We'll take the roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee, Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Jakes, we may now proceed to agenda item number 6.
We will now review an ordinance consenting to the assignment of a lease at the Midway Rail Station, the Orange Line. Bill Mooney.
Morning, Bill Mooney, your Chief Infrastructure Officer. Staff recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing consent to the assignment of a lease at Midway Station on the Orange Line. CTA leases the retail concession space located at the CTA Orange Line Midway Station to NRN Midway Inc. for ordinance number 012-66. NRN Midway Inc. has requested CTA's consent to assign the Midway lease to Sai Baba, CTA Inc., who is the current operator of the business at this location as a sublessee of NRN Midway. This assignment will allow CTA to contract directly with the operator of the concession space. This assignment will not affect the terms of the lease, and the lease will continue to require indemnification of CTA. All other terms and conditions of the lease remain unchanged, and the assigner will remain liable if the assignee should default on the assigner's obligations under the lease. I'll be happy to take any questions on this item.
I have no questions, Bill.
Director Ja,
No questions.
Director Ortiz,
No questions.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Lee,
Thanks, Bill, no questions.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
May I now have leave to place this on the omnibus for board approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja and seconded by Director Ortiz that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 7.
We will now review an ordinance authorizing a permit with the city of Chicago through its Department of Transportation to install art at the UIC Halsted Station at the Peoria Street entrance, Blue Line. Bill.
CTA Art Program recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing a permit with the Chicago Department of Transportation to install art at the Blue Line UIC Halsted Station on the Peoria Street pedestrian bridge. CTA has undertaken a project for the installation of Takeaway, a sculpture by Tom Friedman commissioned through the CTA's Transit Art Program at the Peoria Street entrance. Tom Friedman is an internationally acclaimed artist known for the conceptual art and public sculpture and is most distinguished alumnus of the UIC School of Art and Architecture. The project is located at the Peoria Street pedestrian bridge over the I-290 expressway and requires a permit from the Chicago Department of Transportation, the removal and replacement of existing bollards, and the installation of the sculpture. Board authority is required for the permit because it requires CTA to hold harmless, indemnify, protect, and defend the city of Chicago. I'll be happy to take any questions on this item.
I have no questions, Bill.
Director Ja,
No questions.
Director Ortiz.
I think I appreciate all the art and the partnership with artists as well, in our public spaces. So thank you for that.
Chairman Barclay.
Who actually owns the art?
We do.
And how do you make the decision as to which stations will receive art?
It's a collection of things. So whenever we do a project or renovation of the station, we set aside a percentage of the project budget for dedicated public art and commission than that. Our program typically only allows for one installation per station. So once a station historically gets a piece of art, it stays there as permanent art. There are minor exceptions to that. So like 95th Street on the Dan Ryan has two pieces of art in that station, but they are both by the same artist that was part of the commissioning there. In this case, the station sits in the footprint of zoning bonus dollars that the CTA received. And so that footprint is a very small area that those dollars can be dedicated to. And so we set aside a percentage of that dollar to be used for the public art for this station. As there was kind of a limited, it had recently been renovated in the last 10 years, there was a limited amount of other investment we could make with it. Other circumstances, we try and infill art wherever possible. We look for opportunities around that. So sometimes you'll see us bring forward art agreements with professional service contractors that we solicited because we have a station that doesn't have art and we're looking to benefit from that. So the goal is ultimately to have our public art at every station.
Thank you.
Director Miller,
No question. Thanks.
Director Lee.
You have a photo of the sculpture?
It's in the board package. So the sculpture itself is, it's about a 15 foot sculpture. It depicts Hermes, the Greek god of travel and innovation and things like that. In a modern environment, the artist views Hermes as a whimsical child that kind of flutters about in the world of kind of constant movement and action. So it takes into consideration takeout and Amazon and all these things that he sees Hermes as being involved in the world, right? So this constant energy of movement. So it's a neat piece. There's a sister piece in California that he's done that kind of mirrors across the nation. So.
Director Lee will also be promoting the art on social media and other places as part of the announcement of that effort. So we'll get it out to the public.
Thank you.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
May I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja? Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Lee? Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Jakes, the motion passes. We may now proceed to agenda item number 8.
We will now review an ordinance authorizing a second amendment and restatement to a purchase and sales agreement with Sterling Racine Owner LLC for the sale of authority property located at 120 North Racine Avenue, Chicago. Bill?
Staff recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing a second amendment and restatement to a purchase and sales agreement with Sterling Racine LLC, property located at 120 North Racine. January 12th, 2022, the Transit Board approved a purchase and sales agreement for Sterling Racine to purchase the property at 120 North Racine. PSA was amended per ordinance number 022-85 in July of 2022. PSA authorized the Chief Infrastructure Officer to negotiate a development agreement for Sterling Racine to construct a new training and control center operation facility, which was approved by the board for ordinance number 022-160. This will allow us to consolidate our training operations to meet the current needs as well as expand it in the future and provide for a new modern control center facility. Staff is recommending revisions to the PSA to revise the property sale of 120 North Racine into 2 closings based upon the functionality of the site. Under the amended PSA, CTA would retain ownership of the west parcel until CTA transfers operations to the new facility. East parcel would have a property closure triggered by the City Council's approval of a planned development ordinance for the Taco project. On successful completion of the project and CTA's transfer of operations to the new facility, the west parcel closing would occur. CTA will receive the same value for the sale property as the total purchase price will remain at $35 million. Purchase price will be $11,700,000 for the east parcel and $23,300,000 for the west parcel. I'll be happy to take any questions on this item.
I have no questions, Bill.
Director Ja?
No questions, Bill.
Director Ortiz?
No question.
Chairman Barclay?
Just a brief statement. I'm pleased to see progress that we're making forward on the new center there. I think we need to emphasize significance and importance of the new control center, what that means, and all of it's like to go in. I think we talked about it during briefings that, it's, the brainchild of the whole operation system. So a lot of people don't know and understand what goes into running mass transportation, but it's something that is very significant, as well as a new training center. So we need to message that out, let the public know where these dollars are actually going.
Should, sir.
Director Miller,
No question. Thank you.
Director Lee,
Thanks, Bill Miller.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
May I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that this ordinance be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 9.
Our next order of business today is the review of contract numbers A-1 through A-2 transit operations. I have no questions.
Director Ja, any questions?
No questions.
Director Ortiz,
No.
Chairman Barclay,
None.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Lee.
No.
Director Jakes, we may now proceed to contracts number B1 through B3.
Our next order of business is the review of contract numbers B1 through B3, contract awards for infrastructure. No questions.
Director Ja, any questions?
No questions.
Director Ortiz,
No questions.
Chairman Barclay,
No question.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Lee. Director Jakes, we may now proceed to contract E1.
E1 is to review the contract of award for communications. No questions.
Director Ja, any questions?
No questions.
Director Ortiz, Chairman Barclay,
None.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Lee. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to contract G1.
Our next order of business is the review of contracts numbered G1, contract award for technology. No questions.
Director Ja, any questions?
No questions.
Director Ortiz,
None.
Chairman Barclay,
None.
Director Miller,
No question.
Director Lee. Director Jakes, there
Since
are no further contracts to review.
Well, since there are no further contracts, no further questions on the contracts, may I have leave to place the 7 contracts on the omnibus?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the 7 contracts be placed on the omnibus. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Since there is no further business to come before the committee, may I have a motion to approve the omnibus and recommend the omnibus for board approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja and seconded by Director Ortiz that the omnibus be placed before the board for approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
Director Jakes, the motion passes. You may now proceed to agenda item number 10.
And finally, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the Committee on Finance, Audit and Budget meeting for April 10th, 2024 be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz, Chairman Barclay, Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Morning.
I would like to call to order the meeting of the Chicago Transit Board for April 10th, 2024. Georgette, please call the roll.
Director Ja,
Here.
Director Ortiz,
Here.
Chairman Barclay,
Here.
Director Miller,
Here.
Director Jakes.
I technically, I mean, can I?
No, you're right. You're not here.
Right, I'm not here.
And Director Lee is here. She will be joining us in a minute.
Norm?
Chair recognizes Director Ortiz.
Thank you. Chairman Barkley, I move that Director Bernard Jake be allowed to participate in the meeting remotely due to an injury that prevents him from participating in person.
I second the motion.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz and seconded by Director Ja that Director Bernard Jakes be allowed to participate in the meeting remotely due to an injury which prevents him from being here in person. We'll take the roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Director Jakes, you've been allowed to participate in this meeting virtually. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm requesting that agenda be modified to table the construction report to the May meeting. May I have a motion to that effect?
Chairman Barkley, I move that the agenda be modified to table the construction report to the May meeting.
I second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz that the agenda be modified to table the construction report to the May 2024 meeting. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes,
The agenda has been modified.
Our next order of business is public comments. Georgette?
Chairman Barclay, we do have one of our 5 registered public comment speakers who is shown up today in person, Mr. Isaac Campbell. Mr. Campbell, we ask that you come forward. Welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
And I would like to just remind you that you do have 3 minutes to give your remarks.
I will take less. Well, I am still advocating for the 147. A little extension of the time coming back to Chicago. And the last time I talked about our bus shelter, that it was stolen from there. We had the bus shelter and we had a bench beside the bus shelter. I brought this photo to Smith with the traces, you see? The traces where this thing was situated, and that is what we are trying to get. And see, these are the traces of the shelter that we had there. And one mysterious night, it was gone. The next day, there was no bus shelter. And the bench that we had there, the leg got rotted and fell down. So we don't have any place to sit down or to wait for the bus. And there are a lot of people in my community delegating in me. I have been living there for 20 years. That's all I want to.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
You're welcome.
Chairman Barclay, there are no additional public comments.
Our next.
Please, the latest list has me on it, the last page.
I'm sorry, they were to escort you to your seat, and I don't know your name, so could you please?
Would you address me for public comment? On the last name on the list?
Mr. Karsten Lohan. Mr. Lohan, please come forward. I'm sorry,
I apologize.
that's been designated here for you, which they should have sat you in. And I would have known that that was you.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, we coordinated via email. I apologize, just for the interruption. I tried to coordinate with the staff at the front desk.
Welcome, Mr. Lohan. You have 3 minutes to make your remarks. Your time starts now.
Good morning. My name is Karsten Lohan, and I am a Chicagoan and frequent CTA user. I frequently ride the CTA's number 66 Chicago Avenue route and have been impressed with some of the new all-electric buses running on that route, as well as the red bus-only painted lanes that were created out of the bus priority zones collaboration between CTA and CDOT. However, I have noticed that bus lanes across the city are constantly blocked by scofflaw motorists, rideshare drivers, delivery trucks, and even occasionally CTA's own maintenance vehicles and transit detail CPD vehicles. These other vehicles parked in the bus-only lanes render the lanes almost useless as buses weave back into traffic to avoid the illegally parked vehicles. This is a daily occurrence on Chicago Avenue between Rush and LaSalle and at Dearborn between Ida B. Wells and Wacker. The Loop Link bus lanes seem to be better respected, but I have seen egregious blockages in those lanes as well. Hence, I am here to politely request the CTA board and staff to take a more aggressive stance on enforcement of these lanes for the benefit of their riders and the members of ATU Local 241 that operate our buses. I do understand that the lanes are not directly under the domain of the CTA, but I would like to politely request the board, president, and staff work collaboratively with other agencies in our city to better enforce these lanes. It is my understanding that the enforcement of these lanes can be handled by the CPD, but parking, standing, and compliance violations can be issued by the city's Department of Finance. And if needed, vehicles are towed by streets and sanitation tow trucks. Personally, I have received verbal confirmation from both the 2nd and 42nd Ward offices to request enforcement of these lanes on Chicago Avenue. However, the CTA board might have a little more sway than I do. I also welcome the use of camera technology to enforce blockages of the bus lanes, and I'm excited to see cameras coming to buses soon under the city's Smart Streets Pilot Ordinance. Camera enforcement of bus lanes will promote a more reliable, efficient, and accessible bus service by deterring drivers from parking in bus-only lanes or at bus stops. However, I would like to note that this is only a pilot program, and based on my informal conversations with CTA staff, the number of cameras will be in single digits. I hope there will be a day when all buses will be equipped with cameras, but until then, could we engage the requisite city stakeholders to better enforce our bus lanes? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I apologize about this.
No apology necessary. Mr. Chairman, I think that's the last of our public comments for today.
Thank you. Yeah. Our next item of business on the agenda is our president's report, which will be given by President Oliver Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will be brief, but I did want to, if I have a second here, to comment on Mr. Lohan's public comment. He indicated that there is a pilot that is being developed that is going to test camera technology on our buses to see if we can get better enforcement bus lanes. We obviously are very supportive of that pilot, but more importantly, as the board has heard me discuss on a number of occasions, speeding up our bus service as part of an expansion of our bus service is the top priority of CTA. And I certainly am in conversations with CDOT and others in the city about how we can start to expand on some of the work that we've done around dedicated bus lanes, signal prioritization, bus jumping queues, and other things to allow us to have a much more competitive bus service for the city of Chicago. It's an issue that I think is of top of mind, and I want to at least let the board know that it is a focus of what we're looking to move forward on in terms of improving our overall bus service throughout the system. What I plan to talk to you about briefly was just what's been going on legislatively with CTA. And since your last board meeting, there have been a couple of activities that I've been engaged in. I just want to update the board on. First of all, earlier this month, I was down in Springfield to meet with state legislatures and to have conversations with them about both the current status of CTA's operations, but also the looming fiscal cliff that CTA is facing. I can tell you that those conversations were very productive. Those conversations included a one-on-one meeting with Speaker Welch, who certainly was attentive and understood and wants to engage on how we solve that problem as we go forward. And so I'm very encouraged with the overall receptiveness of the legislature to recognize that there's a problem here that CTA cannot solve by itself, and one in which we're going to need some sort of broader holistic solution to what the funding opportunities are. In addition to meeting with various state legislatures, I also participated in a hearing of the Public Safety Committee, along with my sister agencies, Metra, PACE, and RTA, and other transportation organizations such as IDOT and the Tollway Authority, where we discussed our current budget, our ongoing program activities, as well as, once again, the looming fiscal cliff that's going to impact the entire region. The committee was very engaged, asked a lot of us a lot of questions about the impact of what the fiscal cliff is going to mean. And I think are really looking to get feedback from us about approaches that we can take to ultimately address those problems. On the federal level, I've also been in Washington, D.C. a couple of times since our last meeting, talking to federal regulators and our funding partners about the red line extension, about the need to continue to move that forward. I'm pleased to tell you that I sat down with the FTA acting administrator, Veronica Vanderpool, who was very, very upbeat about our project and very upbeat about the timeline for getting the full funding grant agreement, the federal funding commitment for that project, which, as you know, we're looking to put in place by the end of this year. By all accounts, we're on target to accomplish that. And with that grant agreement in place, we will have the last piece of what is necessary for us to move forward with construction of that project next year. All of you know how important that project is to CTA and to the city of Chicago and to me personally. And so I'm very pleased at the support that we continue to get from the administration on how to basically move that project forward. They were very clear that the administration views this as a top priority project for them and one in which they are putting forth their full support and resources to help us move it forward. I also was at a broader legislative committee meeting for APTA, which, as you know, I serve as immediate past chair of that organization and had an opportunity to lead a number of discussions around the future of bus manufacturing in our industry, and of course, the challenges that all of us are facing around the ability to buy electric zero emission buses because of the complete lack of manufacturers that have, and the number that have left the industry over the past year or two. There's a lot of progress being made on that. I think there's industry-wide understanding of what we need to do to bring the industry back and to increase that capacity. And I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to find solutions that will help both keep the manufacturing we have here in place, as well as start to bring in other manufacturers in the future to ultimately support the demand that's going to be here for electric buses as we go forward. Mr. Chairman, that really completes my report for today. I'm happy to take any questions that the board may have, both about what we're doing legislatively or as well as any other matters that you wish to ask me about. Thank you.
Thank you, President Carter. Thanks for the update. I'm pleased that your team is working with the Illinois legislature to build relationships with our elected officials in Springfield to get the message out about the critical needs that we're going to face in terms of the sustainability of public transportation in a couple of years. I'm also encouraged by the collaborative work that you are doing with the other service boards to make that, bring that to the attention of the legislature. So we're very pleased with that, and we want to thank you and commend you for that. Most of you know that I've traveled to Springfield a couple of times in February as well, one time with President Carter, but also want to make it known that all board members should participate in that effort to lobby our legislative body and let them know that we're facing this fiscal cliff, that there are going to be some challenges that we're going to be facing. And so to the extent that you have the ability to reach out and touch, we want everybody to participate in the legislative process so that everyone knows that who we are and the need that we're going to have. So feel free to coordinate with our legislative team here to see when you could go to Springfield and tell our story as well. So thank you, President.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments by any other board members?
Director Job?
No questions, thank you.
Director Ortiz?
No, thank you.
Director Miller?
The president was last public speaker, and you were saying that streets and sand and with the camera, and I think we kind of missed that.
It was CDOT.
CDOT.
Right. It wasn't streets and sands. CDOT. There's a pilot that we're working on with CDOT to ultimately put cameras on our buses.
Okay.
That would allow us to enforce our bus lane requirements. I think you heard the speaker speak to that. I think the point I was making is that I'm obviously fully supportive of that effort and look forward to, expand the program.
Director Lee,
No further questions.
Director Jakes,
No, no questions.
Chairman Barclay, there are no further questions.
Yeah, thank you, President Carter. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 13th, 2024. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz, that the minutes from the last board meeting, March 13th, 2024, be approved as submitted. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
The motion to approve the minutes passes.
The next order of business is executive session. Kent?
There is no executive session today, Chairman.
Thank you. We will now address board agenda item 6, board matters. Georgette, do we have any board matters today?
Mr. Chairman, today we have a resolution of appreciation to Reverend Johnny L. Miller. Chairman Barclay, may I read the resolution?
Yes.
Resolution of appreciation to Reverend Johnny L. Miller. Whereas Reverend Johnny L. Miller has served on the Chicago Transit Board for 8 years after being appointed by Mayor Rahm Emanuel in 2016. And whereas Reverend Miller was appointed chairman of the Committee on Human Resources in 2017 and chairman of the Committee on Strategic Planning and Service Delivery in 2022, and has retained the chairmanship of each committee to date. And whereas Reverend Miller has served the Transit Board with dedication and commitment, using his extensive experience and background in the community through his pastorship at Mount Vernon Baptist Church and in many other community outreach roles in support of policies that support public transit in Chicago and throughout the region. And whereas over the course of his tenure, the Transit Board approved the largest capital projects in its history, such as the 95th Street Terminal construction and the Red and Purple Modernization Project, and has made notable progress toward initiating the Red Line extension south from 95th Street to 130th Street, with the project entering the engineering phase. And whereas Reverend Miller has been a proponent of CTA's Second Chance program, which assists ex-offenders in finding job opportunities and offers other holistic support, as well as CTA's workforce development initiatives to increase work opportunities on CTA contracts for individuals from underrepresented communities. And whereas the Transit Board wishes to acknowledge Reverend Miller's many contributions and accomplishments in promoting public transit and bettering the city of Chicago and the region, now therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Chicago Transit Board extend to Reverend Johnny L. Miller, their sincere thanks for his dedication and service to the board and the Chicago Transit Authority. Be it further resolved that the officers and employees of the Chicago Transit Authority join in this expression of appreciation and extend their best wishes to Reverend Miller. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread of record upon the minutes of this meeting, and that a suitable copy be presented to Reverend Miller as an expression of our respect for him and our gratitude for his service. Dated today, April 10th, 2024, to be adopted by the Chicago Transit Board.
Thank you, Georgette. Before we vote on the resolution, I'd like to have a few words to say about Johnny Miller, Director Miller, and then I'll open the remarks up to President Carter and to other board members as well. Director Miller, it's been a pleasure serving with you on the board. We've known each other for many years before serving on the board together. It's good to see a familiar face when I joined the board. It's always good. You've been a friend throughout the years. Your commitment to community and equity serves as an example of the importance of community engagement in board service. Throughout your time on the board, you've often raised the concerns and brought the perspectives of our riderships from areas of our city that have been impacted by historical disinvestment. Whether it be service or infrastructure improvements or job opportunities. That rich perspective made us better as a board, and it made CTA a better agency. It is very fitting that the Second Chance program was highlighted this morning during your committee meeting. A program that you champion because of the life-changing opportunities it provides to so many to start over. Your strong support of this program is a credit to its success and sustainability. We're gonna miss you, but I'm sure we'll see you around town. Right? So thank you, Director Miller, for your many years of service to the CTA board. At this point, President Carter, I yield to you and to any other board members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've had the pleasure of working with Director Miller during my entire term here as president of the Chicago Transit Authority. And I echo all of the sentiment that the chairman conveyed about his dedication and his commitment to CTA and to the policies and the goals that we certainly strive to achieve. I want to make special note of the work that he did in supporting our efforts on DBE participation as well as workforce development. Many of you may not be aware of the fact that Director Miller opened up his community center for us to hold a forum for people on the west side of Chicago to make them aware of job opportunities and contracting opportunities for the RPM project. I have no doubt that he'll be prepared to do the same thing for RLE, whether he's a member of the board or not. But he has always been a powerful voice in ensuring that we're meeting our expectations around diversity and inclusivity. He has been a strong supporter of my programs and goals to bring more access to those communities that have been traditionally disenfranchised. And he has been a voice that will certainly be missed as a leader in this conversation here at CTA. So I just want to, on behalf of myself personally, and on behalf of the entire CTA staff, thank you for your engagement, your commitment, your dedication to CTA. It was truly appreciated and noticed.
Thank you.
Director Ja.
Can I go? Thank you. I've truly been inspired by your community service and the stories that I've heard, and your dedication to public transit. I feel fortunate that I was allowed to serve next to you, and we will miss you. But like you said, whether you are on the board or not, I think we'll be seeing more of you.
And so I want to echo these sentiments on being really thankful for your leadership, your guidance, your thoughtfulness around equity, around community, around serving our city of Chicago are definitely one that I've taken a great notice of and that I really appreciate. Thank you again also for welcoming me into the board and being a friendly member as well. And I look forward to being a part of your life as well later on in a different phase, in a different role. We're all our Chicagoans and we love that role. So thank you for your service to Chicago. We will miss you and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Lee.
Director Miller, it's been an honor, a pleasure just to sit next to you, serve together, and just to be in your presence. And your leadership is commendable, and we're going to miss you so much. I'm going to miss you personally. So thank you.
Director Jakes.
Rev, let me just tell you, man, this is honestly a bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
Bittersweet because the board this has nothing to do with the board, but it was 23 years ago that Reverend Johnny Miller stood at West Point to have them take the final vote to vote me in as pastor. And so it goes all the way back then. And so to have him as one of the shoulders upon which at the time I was a young pastor and to stand on, it's just bittersweet the opportunity to be able to serve with you on the Chicago Transit Board was really a blessing. I think about the fact, Rev, that often Black preachers, Black pastors, we get a bum rap for whatever reasons. Some are justified, but they don't see the hard work and dedication that persons like yourselves have done to help sustain community and to help people to continue to live. And that's who you are. When we talk about you, we need to talk about you in the same conversations of Dr. King and the late Clay Evans and Bishop Ford. And, even though they're deceased and you're very much alive, when the conversation is had, your name has to be in that conversation, because the city of Chicago and others really need to know how much you have been a champion for not just all people, for all people in general, but Black people specifically, unapologetically, because it doesn't mean that you hate one, but you just love the other and you want to see their upward mobility. So I am extremely grateful and humbled to have served with you and to know that this is not, this is just something you're retiring from, but that greater work will ensue. And so thank you, Dr. Miller, for being who you are and for the work that we've not seen that I know that you've done behind the scenes. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So on behalf of the board, I'd like to present this to Dr. Miller, please, Director Miller, Reverend Miller, whatever. Chicago Transit Board recognizes Reverend Johnny L. Miller, Chicago Transit Board Director, Chairman of Human Resources and Strategic Planning Committee. Board term June 2016 through April 2024. And sincere gratitude for your years of dedicated and outstanding service to the Chicago Transit Authority and the City of Chicago, dated April 10, 2020.
Thank you so much.
May I recommend that we take a picture with the board? Do we have a minute to do that?
Yes, we have a minute.
Oh.
Three, two, one. Thanks a lot. Thank Reverend Pastor Jake summed it up. It is bittersweet. I just want to say thanks, and it's been a pleasure serving on this board. 8 years of opportunity to bring some unity, to be able to host job fairs and have CTA to come out in the neighborhood. It's been a great experience, and just being on the board, seeing certain opportunity to share. Even the Second Chance program today, certainly befitting. We hosted one of the first job fairs with the Second Chance. So it's been a joy to serve and be a part of it. Thank you, President. Thank you, Chairman, and to all of the board members. We are family. We become family, and I appreciate that. I've served under 2 chairmen, 3 mayors, and we're still serving and looking forward to seeing you all again. Have some more work to do in the neighborhood in just a minute when I leave here. So it's leaving CTA board, but still serving my calling, and I enjoy it. Thank you all so much for all you've done.
Thank you, Reverend Miller.
Mr. Chairman, if we might have a formal vote to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz and seconded by Director Ja that the board adopt the resolution honoring Reverend Johnny L. Miller for his years of dedication and service to the CTA board. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Miller? Director Lee? Director Jakes?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next order of business is a report from the Committee on Human Resources. Director Miller.
Thank you. The committee met earlier this morning and approved the May 10th, 2023 committee minutes. Second chance program presentation was made by CTA Vice President and Training Workforce Development, Geisha Esther. The committee discussed presentation and asked questions for clarification on the certain and additional information then adjourned, being no further business to be conducted. That's my report, Chairman Barclay.
Thank you, Director Miller. Our next order of business is a report from the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget, which will be presented by Director Jakes.
Mr. Chairman, the committee met earlier this morning and approved the March 13th, 2024 committee minutes and reviewed the finance report. The committee reviewed 5 ordinances. 1, review of an ordinance amending Ordinance 023-131, approving the fiscal years 2024 through 2028 capital improvement program. 2, review of an ordinance authorizing a co-promotional trade agreement with the City of Chicago through its Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events for 2024. 3, review of an ordinance consenting to the assignment of a lease at the Midway Rail Station. 4, review of an ordinance authorizing a permit with the City of Chicago through its Department of Transportation to install art at the UIC Halsted Station at the Peoria Street entrance. 5, the review of an ordinance authorizing a second amendment and restatement to a purchase and sale agreement with Sterling Racine Owner LLC for the sale of authority property located at 120 North Racine Avenue, Chicago. The committee also reviewed 7 contracts. The committee placed the 5 ordinances and 7 other contracts on the omnibus. The committee approved and recommended for board approval 5 ordinances and the 7 contracts. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the report of the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Director Jakes. I will now entertain a motion to approve the omnibus.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja and seconded by Director Ortiz that the omnibus be approved by the board. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Our final order of business is new business. Georgette, is there any new business?
Mr. Chairman, there is no new business.
Since there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn the Chicago Transit Board meeting of April 10th, 2024.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by Director Ortiz that this meeting be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay, the motion passes.
Meeting is adjourned.